Welcome to Impact History. Before he was the father of a nation, Muhammad Ali Jinnah was a brilliant British-trained lawyer, renowned for his sharp intellect. In his early political career as a member of the Indian National Congress, he was hailed as an ambassador of Hindu-Muslim unity. For years, he was a staunch believer that a united secular India offered the best future for all its people, including the large Muslim minority. But the political landscape of British India was shifting. Decades of growing communal distrust and failed negotiations between the Congress and the All India Muslim League convinced Jinnah that Muslim interests would be subsumed in a Hindu-majority India. He underwent a profound political transformation, leaving the Congress and becoming the undisputed leader of the Muslim League. It was from this platform that he championed the controversial two-nation theory, the idea that Hindus and Muslims were two distinct nations who required separate states. He became the driving force behind the Pakistan movement, uniting disparate Muslim communities under a single banner and earning the title Quaid-e-Azam, or the Great Leader, from his millions of followers. In August 1947, his vision became reality. Pakistan was carved out of British India, born amid the chaos of partition. It was a geographical anomaly, two wings, West and East Pakistan, separated by over 1,000 miles of Indian territory. The birth was traumatic, marked by one of the largest and bloodiest mass migrations in human history, as millions of Muslims journeyed to Pakistan and millions of Hindus and Sikhs fled in the opposite direction. Amid this turmoil, Jinnah, now Pakistan's first Governor-General, stood as the sole unifying figure with unquestionable authority. He envisioned a modern, constitutional democratic state. In his famous address to the Constituent Assembly, he declared a vision of religious freedom and equal citizenship for all, a secular ideal that would be fiercely debated for decades. For the fragile nation, his word was law, his presence a guarantee of stability. But behind the confident facade of the nation's leader, the Quaid-e-Azam was hiding a fatal secret. For years he had been battling advanced tuberculosis, a fact he concealed from the public and even his political adversaries. The immense strain of creating and leading a new country had taken its final, irreversible toll on his already poor health. On September 11, 1948, just 13 months after Pakistan's creation, Muhammad Ali Jinnah died. The news plunged the nation into a state of shock and profound grief. Pakistan was orphaned, the country was left without its central guiding figure, its ultimate arbiter, at the most precarious time imaginable. The new state was grappling with monumental challenges, drafting a constitution, building institutions from scratch, settling millions of refugees, and navigating the explosive dispute with India over Kashmir. Jinnah's death created a massive leadership vacuum. His lieutenants, while capable, lacked his towering stature and his unique ability to command respect across all political and ethnic divides. His untimely demise is one of modern history's great turning points, raising a powerful question that has echoed through the decades. What if he had lived for another 5 or 10 years? How might the destiny of Pakistan and indeed the entire region have been different? In this episode of Impact History, we will explore the immediate fallout of his death and delve into 5 critical what-if scenarios. We'll examine the power struggles that ensued, the difficult process of writing a constitution, the course of the Kashmir conflict, and the enduring debate over Pakistan's national identity. His death was not just an end, but a beginning. The start of a new, uncertain chapter for the nation he created. On September 11, 1948, just over a year after its birth, Pakistan's founder, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, was dead. The news sent a shockwave of grief across the fledgling state. Jinnah was more than a leader. He was the symbol of the nation, the one figure whose authority was universally accepted. His death created a profound leadership vacuum. While Prime Minister Liaquat Ali Khan was a capable lieutenant, no successor could match the Quaid's stature. Power became diffuse and struggles between politicians began almost immediately, setting the stage for decades of instability. This leadership crisis exposed the fragility of Pakistan's democratic foundations. The country had inherited a well-organized civil service and military, but its political institutions were weak and fractious. Without Jinnah's authority to keep the non-elected institutions in check, the balance of power skewed dangerously. The vital process of writing a constitution stalled for years, creating a political vacuum. This allowed the powerful bureaucracy and military to accumulate influence, arguing they alone could provide stability. The stage was set for an era where a bureaucratic military oligarchy would overshadow the will of the people. While political struggles unfolded, a human catastrophe consumed the country. Partition had inundated Pakistan with over 7 million desperate refugees. Jinnah's moral authority had been critical in mobilizing a national response. His death crippled the relief effort, leaving millions to suffer in sprawling camps. At the same time, Pakistan was fighting its first war with India over Kashmir. Jinnah had personally directed the strategy, but without his unifying command, the policy lost its coherence. When a UN-brokered ceasefire was agreed in 1949, Pakistan's negotiating position was weaker, entrenching a bitter conflict that would define its foreign policy for decades to come. Perhaps the most enduring consequence was the unresolved question of Pakistan's identity. Was it to be a secular democracy, as Jinnah had once suggested, or an Islamic state? Jinnah's authority held these competing visions in a delicate balance. His death threw the debate wide open. Without his influence, the argument for a state defined by religion gained momentum. In March 1949, the Objectives Resolution declared that sovereignty belonged to God. This was a pivotal tilt towards an Islamic identity, leaving a legacy of ideological tension that continues to shape Pakistan today. Jinnah's death unleashed a perfect storm: a leadership void, weak institutions, a humanitarian crisis, an active war, and a profound debate over the nation's soul. These interconnected crises compounded one another, creating a legacy of instability that defined Pakistan's first decade. This internal turmoil would force Pakistan to look outward for support, shaping its pivotal role in the unfolding Cold War. Regionally, Jinnah's death limited opportunities for stabilizing relations with India. With fewer high-level dialogues, mistrust deepened and disputes persisted. Afghanistan initially opposed Pakistan's UN membership over border concerns. A stronger Jinnah diplomacy might have eased early tensions with Afghanistan and Central Asia. Globally, Pakistan entered alliances with the United States in the 1950s. Had Jinnah lived, he might have pursued a more independent foreign policy, altering South Asia's Cold War dynamics. Across the region, the absence of a dominant, respected leader changed negotiation dynamics. Economic and security choices in early Pakistan influenced long-term regional cooperation or the lack of it. From border disputes to Cold War alliances, Jinnah's death shifted the region onto a path that reverberated through the 1950s and beyond. For students of history, asking "what if" can reveal how individual lifespans shape national trajectories. Now let's step into the realm of counterfactual history with 5 what-if scenarios. These aren't mere fantasies, but thought experiments designed to explore the alternate paths Pakistan might have taken had its founder, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, lived longer or acted differently. His death, just 13 months into the nation's existence, left a profound leadership vacuum, and the answers to the nation's most fundamental questions were buried with him. Let's explore what might have been. First, what if Jinnah had lived for at least another decade? The Quaid-e-Azam, or Great Leader, commanded unparalleled authority. In the turbulent years after his death, Pakistan struggled for stability. His successor, Liaquat Ali Khan, was assassinated in 1951, and the subsequent political infighting paralyzed the government. The country's first constitution took 9 long years to draft. With Jinnah at the helm, his decisive leadership could have expedited this process, creating a strong constitutional framework from the outset. His stature might have been the only force capable of cementing civilian supremacy over the military, a principle he deeply believed in. Perhaps the 1958 military coup, which set a dangerous precedent for decades to come, could have been averted entirely, allowing a fragile democracy the time it needed to take root. Second, what if Jinnah had explicitly and unalterably defined Pakistan's identity? In a famous 1947 speech, he declared that religion was not the business of the state. Yet, after his death, the debate over Pakistan's direction intensified. Was it to be a secular democracy that protected a Muslim minority, or a formal Islamic republic? The 1949 Objectives Resolution, which declared sovereignty belonged to God, tilted the scales firmly toward the latter. Had Jinnah lived, could he have used his authority to embed his secular vision into the constitution? A state that formally separated mosque and state could have profoundly altered Pakistan's social fabric, potentially mitigating the rise of religious fundamentalism. This might also have transformed relations with India, recasting the rivalry from an ideological religious conflict into a more conventional geopolitical dispute between two secular neighbors. Third, what if a healthy Jinnah had personally overseen negotiations on Kashmir? The conflict erupted within months of independence, with Jinnah already gravely ill. As a master negotiator and brilliant lawyer who had spent decades sparring with the British and Congress, his direct involvement could have been a game-changer. He might have leveraged his immense political capital to push for a UN-supervised plebiscite or negotiate a pragmatic partition of the territory before entrenched positions hardened into decades of war. Could he have restrained the more aggressive factions within his own government who favored a military solution? A peaceful settlement in Kashmir, the very first flashpoint, might have prevented the cycle of 3 major wars and countless skirmishes, saving millions of lives and steering the subcontinent's resources away from a ruinous arms race and toward development. Fourth, what if Jinnah had prioritized economic and political federalism over a strong central government? The grievances of East Pakistan, which held the majority of the population, began early. The region's economic contributions, particularly from its jute exports, were not matched by investment from the West-dominated central government. Jinnah's own declaration of Urdu as the sole national language ignited the Bengali language movement, a key moment in the development of a separate East Pakistani identity. Had he lived longer, would his political pragmatism have led him to recognize these growing fissures? A more federal structure, granting significant autonomy to the provinces, could have addressed Bengali concerns about political representation and economic disparity. This might have preempted the rise of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman's secessionist movement and altered the tragic course that led to the brutal civil war of 1971 and the birth of Bangladesh. And fifth, what if Jinnah had steered Pakistan toward a non-aligned foreign policy during the Cold War? In the years after his death, Pakistan sought security against India by aligning firmly with the United States, joining military pacts like SEATO and CENTO. This decision locked the subcontinent into the dynamics of the Cold War, fueling an arms race with Soviet-leaning India. Jinnah's initial pronouncements, however, suggested a more neutral path, emphasizing friendship with all. Had he pursued this, South Asia's history could look very different. A non-aligned Pakistan might have fostered greater regional cooperation and reduced the militarization of the India-Pakistan rivalry. Internally, it would have meant less reliance on American military aid, which historically strengthened the armed forces at the expense of democratic institutions, fundamentally altering the country's civil-military balance. Each of these counterfactuals highlights how the choices of a single leader at a critical juncture can shape a nation's institutions, identity, and its place in the world. Of course, history is not just the story of great men. Deep structural forces were also at play. But Jinnah's premature death removed the one figure with the authority to navigate these immense challenges. History cannot be rewritten, but by exploring these possibilities we gain a sharper understanding of the pivotal moments that set Pakistan on its course. Jinnah's legacy is thus defined not only by the nation he created, but by the profound and unanswered questions his absence left behind. His is a story as much about what might have been as it is about what was. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the echoes of history. If you found this exploration insightful, please like this video and subscribe to Impact History for more deep dives into the pivotal moments that shaped our world. What historical what-if scenarios fascinate you? Let us know in the comments below. We look forward to seeing you next time.